All right, good morning and welcome back. Today we are doing a day in the life. Now remember, I work and I homeschool, so I'm going to show you how I do it. And before we get to that, let's do free item of the day. Ambleside Online has a super cool picture study program, artist study program. Now remember, I've showed you artist cards on here before, but this is just pictures and it's free and I just love it. It's kind of what I was looking for. So I'll put the link in the description. You can head there. And again, printing off these photos may seem like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. But if you have the EcoTank printer, and I'm not saying this because if I sell it to you, it's not going to get me, like, it get maybe 50 cents. I don't really know. Like, trust me, when I look at the Amazon account, like, not much. But you get 700-800 pages of color for like $40 a page. 40 bucks. You can't go wrong with an EcoTank. And I'll put my printer that I love in there. It's not the newest version, so it's only like a couple $100 because the newer versions don't change like that much. And this one was really high rated. So that's why I decided to go with it, and it was not a mistake. Okay, so question of the day is, if you have a kindergartner, someone asked me, I have a kindergartner who's learned to read basically like for a has learned to read, should I do 5 in a row or should I do Blossom and Root? First of all, they're completely different in the sense that, so 5 in a row, it says ages 5 to 9. It's not. I would say grade 2 is your sweet spot. Like at least I would say like age 7 and up at least. Whereas, and if she's already learned how to read, for the most part, the Blossom and Root one is very cool. It's like, here's a book. We're going to do copy work from there. We're going to practice writing the letter M today, large and small. So it's a very gentle curriculum. It's $35 for the kindergarten version. I think they call it year 0, but I'm not sure. It says kindergarten very clearly on it. So it is, I mean, they're perfectly opposite curriculums though, in the sense though, if you were to get the kindergarten one for 5 in a row, it would be before 5 in a row. And that one is a little more religious from my understanding. Whereas 5 in a row is not. They do not have a lot of religious information in there at all. Except for they've added it into the teacher edition if you want to add in hymns and Bibles and things like that to go along with it, but it doesn't come with it from what I understand. However, the 5 in a row I have doesn't anyway, and I'm pretty sure that's the newest version. Now, but the before 5 in a row is what it's called for like 3 to 5, and that would be, you know, young kids, right? I would think even up to age 7, I think you would use that, but it's a little different. Whereas Blossom and Root is secular. So it's completely different programs. There's also, if you're into secular programs, Torchlight, the kindergarten one is pretty cool. I haven't done it, but it's around the world. A lot of kindergarten programs seem to do around the world, but you can also get the free one from Core Curriculum. I'm not sure if it's kindergarten or grade 1 that they go around the world. I think it's kindergarten, and they go around the world, and then you can just pick out storybooks that go along with it, like France, Madeline, and things like that, and just Google and then pull up books that way, and then ask them some questions about it, have them retell what what the story was about, and then write it out, which is kind of what you do in Blossom and Root. Okay, so there you go. So if it were me, and those are your two choices, I would start with Blossom and Root, and then at about grade 2, maybe then transition into 5 in a row. If that were me, and those are the two programs. Autism info of the day or idea of the day. If you have a child that is not easy to handle, or you have a child that requires a lot of you, you need more time alone than another parent. I get that sounds like you can't get it. You have to get it. So if that means you give them the tablets and you sit in front of the television for a while for 2 hours every day, try and get yourself 2 hours in the afternoon that is just you. Like, try to do that. And that doesn't mean that it's time to clean the house. That doesn't mean that it's time to make dinner. That doesn't mean that it's time to pay bills. That means it's time for you to sit in your chair and either read and watch TV and maybe doze if you can. So it's extremely important to have boundaries and take care of yourself for at least, and when you first start doing that, they may not be used to the concept. So give them each a plate of food, put them in separate rooms, give them iPads, and you can always take it away. And when you're done, and yeah, oh, they'll scream. Yeah, they will. You can give them a 5-minute timer or a 10-minute warning, and then, I mean, it goes. And yeah, they do get upset sometimes about it. Life is full of upsetting things you kind of got to overcome. You know what I mean? Like, kind of got to overcome and keep going. That's kind of the way life is designed. That's what I try to tell myself. Okay, so there you go. That is my public service announcement for parents today. All right, so let's talk a couple products of the day I have is This is a visual timer, getting your kids to read by themselves, even for 5 minutes. Even for 5 minutes, and even if they can't read, they can still look at the pictures. And if you read the books to them over and over again, or enough times, or a few times, or a couple times, they know what the story is, so they can still kind of read it on their own. Okay, so that's just kind of getting them some independence on their own. Next I have for you today is, it's a homeschool family fitness curriculum. So it's got a little bit of football in here, a little bit of basketball techniques, a little bit, like it's only a couple pages on each. Basketball, or it's got the history in it, and then how to do with volleyball, football, things like that. But it also has a lot of ideas in it. But it's got like aerobics plan for ages 4 and up, and aerobics plan for ages 9 and up. What I do is I just put a trampoline in the backyard, and I was like, okay, it's time to tramp. They do say only for kids 4 and up because something in their bones aren't quite developed. But anyway, indoor, outdoor games. So it's got a lot of games in here you can do. Freeze tag, blob, snake catch, simple tag, safe tag, birdie dunk, bocce, frisbee golf, red rover, run for your life. So there you go. It is an option if you need it. Will I use it? No. I can't even pretend that I'm going to. Like, normally, sometimes I can fool myself and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. Like the other day at the library, they had a bunch of free DVDs, a bunch of Pilates. I picked up a ton of Pilates DVDs because I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. Really, there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if I'm actually going to do that, but this I know for sure I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so up next I got 2 safety programs for you. Well, I have a super duper safety school. We all know, if you've watched any of my videos, how passionate I am about this book, the information it teaches you in this book. Safe grown-ups don't ask kids for help, especially when you're by yourself. Okay, so to get them to graduate safety school, they complete that book. And then this is interesting. So this says, this is from The Good and the Beautiful. It's the safety curriculum. It's a science unit study. It says 3 to 8. So I'm not sure they mean grade or years. I think it's appropriate for ages 3 to 8. I don't think it's appropriate for grades 3 to 8. But anyway, so it's interesting, like light a candle and blow it out and recognize that smell. That smell is fire. So it does have some interesting elements to it. Like here, safety situation symbols. I mean, I would say this is grade 1 to grade 2. I don't think higher than that, really. Natural disaster safety. So when it's got a lot of keywords like cross-contamination, because it's got kitchen help and kitchen safety and stuff like that. So I do think, unless you have a child that is very, I don't know, overly cautious, I think you can do it really at any time. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things where, you know how I have secondary subjects and primary subjects? This is like a 6-week study unit. All right, so let's get to how I work and how I homeschool. Keep in mind a couple things. First of all, I don't do a lot of cleaning. The house is messy. Like if you look over here, you'll see all the clean laundry that I have not folded. So I only do minimal cleaning. Like you'll see me clean the table before we're doing our homeschool and breakfast. And then in the afternoon, I clean the kitchen. For the most part, that is it. I clean the kitchen when I make dinner. That's it. So it's messy throughout the rest of the day. Like breakfast and stuff like that, it's messy. Now there's a couple things you could do for that. Only have kids have the exact plates and then they have to wash the plates and da-da-da, whatever. The boys clean up all the toys during the day. My husband throws on laundry in the evening. So my husband, or I'll throw it on, but he'll switch it over and then bring it up here and dump it in the pile when it's ready. And then on the weekend is when I'll tackle the bathrooms and my husband will do all the floors. So there you go. And because of that, is box up a lot of their toys so you're not tripping on them. But again, my boys clean up their toys like, you know, every day or two. It's like, okay, today's the living room's gotta be done. If you wanna do that, tablet time or whatever, the living room's gotta be done. All right, also keep in mind that I don't exercise and I only do basic meals. Okay, so basic meals, we were talking, I'll show you a million pictures on the screen. Woo-hoo-hoo. I don't know where these pictures are, but woo-hoo-hoo. So for example, for meals, you're talking really simple. You're talking French fries, you're talking rice, you're talking pasta, which in itself does not sound healthy, except that that's just the side. So everything else is, I always put a bunch of fruit, I put a bunch of salad, put a bunch of that stuff. And the way I get them to eat the salad is that I pair it with a really delicious dressing, and I serve it first. before we have dinner. So I keep things simple, okay? Because cooking isn't my love at this particular time in my life. It was a long time ago. It is not now. Now we cook for health. I try to make 50% of their plates fruits and vegetables. Now that you know what's going on and kind of the primo rules of my household, let's start. 6 o'clock a.m., I'm gonna wake them up and read to them. Okay, so I'm waking them and we're reading, 6 o'clock at the latest, waking them and we're reading. And then 6:30, it's all about connection. I will play Paw Patrol with my one son, and the other son, if he wants to, can also join in. And this is if my stepson isn't here. Okay, so it's different rules when my stepson's here. Like different kind of, I mean, these kind of follow the same things, but there's just added stuff that we do or different things. Okay, 7 o'clock, I clean the table and get it ready for homeschool and get it ready for breakfast, because we do our first part of the homeschool while we are eating. So we've doubled up. We are eating and we are knocking out basically secondary subjects. So primary subjects are math, science, like language arts, right? And secondary subjects are geography. Whatever I want, whatever I feel like doing, that's what we knock out there and then. Like for example, one of the things you can do breakfast with is pick up this encyclopedia and then go through a different chapter, or the animals book by Usborne, and go through a different chapter every day. You know, just through a different chapter. This one is also good. It does not have how old the earth is, so it's good for secular and Christian in my opinion. Got earthquakes, stuff like that, okay? So then we're also covering, that's when you cover Bible, vocab, and I've showed you the books that I use, manners, history readings. So anything, if we're studying Egypt that week, well then that's where I'm pulling out the Egypt books and we're discussing Egypt, whatever it is. You can also get the timelines of everything, which, skip the first part if you're Christian, but if you don't want to talk about evolution, the age of the earth, but timelines of everything, and you can flip to a page and it's got the bikes, the history of the bikes, the history of the plane. So it's got literally timelines of everything, and it's kind of interesting. And that's by the Smithsonian. We can also do geography during that time too, right? Reading, you know, different countries of the world, reading about it that day, that time, and stuff like that. So then at 8:30, that's when we do, so at 8 a.m. we will do an activity. So we can do science, we can do art, we can do whatever I feel like, and add it into usually some of the books that I have showed you. Like for example, if I felt like doing Earth Slayers, and then I would pull an activity connected to it. All right, done and done, I have knocked that out. Then 8:30, 10 a.m., we split up. The boys go off and they play by themselves, together, whatever they want, and I go up to my room, and that is where I start my primary work for the day, whatever. All right, so this is not housework, this is just actual work for any of the businesses or projects or things that I do. Oh, this is also when I eat breakfast too. So I'll also eat breakfast then while I'm getting ready for the day. Okay, so 10 a.m. is snack time. Today we are having oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips and bananas, and we're going to have it outside as a picnic. During snack time as well, what we can do alternatively is then I get ready for individual subjects. I go down. Okay, so yeah, 10 a.m. I'm preparing for individual subjects like math or language arts. For the most part, it's just math or language arts. But whatever else I feel like, again, we go year round. So Fridays I can dedicate, you know, I can dedicate all summer to science if I want. So it's whatever, kind of whatever I feel like. One child will be playing, he will be composing music while I work with the other child, and we get that math done, we get that language arts done. And he will be composing music, not structured, just enjoying his passion on that. Then we switch. Then the other child, I may let him do Khan Academy online or set him up with an art project or something. Usually he needs a little more guidance with that, but something like that. And then, or set him up with some DVDs while I do work with the other child, and we do the math and we do the language arts. Next up, 11 a.m., they are to get their charts completed. Their charts, I've showed you them before. They are just basically, I just check off what I want done that day, and it's going to be changing. This changes, everything changes depending on where I live. When I live in the United States, we go on a lot more field trips. We go on a ton of field trips because you can always there's always a science center nearby, an aquarium nearby, museums nearby, parks nearby. Like there's everything nearby in the United States, so we go on more field trips because there's just more people, so there's just more stuff to do. Whereas when we're in Canada, 4 days a week, I take them to the hockey rink. It's like $1.50, and they skate every day. I take them there, skate. Some of them skate, sometimes they do, but whatever. I take them there, and out they go, little birdies. and I'm scared to go on the ice, so I don't go on the ice, and I push them out there, and they go and they skate around and they have a great time. So 4 days a week I do that. So it just depends where I am. So we are completely changing our lifestyle. We're doing 180. So what the next phase of our life look like, I don't know, except I will keep the same routine because I always am working. I always have rental houses that I'm working on. I always have projects that I'm doing. I always have something going on. So it's just, it feeds my soul to create. So that's, okay, so 11 a.m. they get their charts completed with their chores. They do the cleaning of the living room. They do the exercise. They get their teeth done. This is where, I'm not gonna nag them in the morning. This is where they get their teeth done. This is where whatever they need, like my son exercises he has to do for his feet is going to be at the next phase when we redo the charts and stuff like that. Baths get taken then, challenges get done, like, yes, I want you to draw me a story. That's your challenge for the day. Usually, to be honest, they're all, it doesn't matter what challenge I give them. All right, I want you to build this, I want you to build a lighthouse for me with an actual light. I will hear, no, I'm gonna color this. No, I'm just gonna create this. Okay, so there are some times that it does not have to be done. Your schoolwork enough has to be done sometimes mostly the way it's required to be done, that you can have freedom, but it's just so funny how they're so strong. I'm like, no, thanks though, but I will do this. Okay, but anyway, their challenges need to be done. And then we go on 12 p.m. lunch, and boys are in front of either the TV, some educational program, either there's no Minecraft or YouTube until late. So you somewhat have to just occupy yourself, but they can do Code Spark and stuff like that. And that is when I feed them their food. Again, more meals, more healthy, simple meals. So I will feed them like homemade popcorn with a bunch of fruit on the side and some vegetables with maybe some dressing for one that doesn't like it and the other one doesn't mind vegetables plain. So yeah, then I'm editing, I'm managing our rental properties. If you want to see all the different jobs that I have done or that I'm going to do at the next one, I'll attach the video at the end. The only job I wouldn't recommend people do is do something that you're not interested in, because in order to make something work and make something go, you have to be passionate about it, you have to love it and be interested in it, and it has to inspire you. It can't drain you. You can be passionate about something and it just drains you after you've talked about it. Like All Natural Health, I studied it for a long time, and I used to, but I could never do a business regarding it because it drained me to talk about, because I was so passionate about it. Whereas talking about homeschool stuff and ideas that have helped me, I don't mind that. I find it passionate, like it's interesting to me, and I like doing it. I like creating stuff. So yeah, so I do not mind. So there's a difference. And also keep in mind too that, so not only do you have to love it because you're gonna have to talk about it, write about it, read about it, is don't do Amazon affiliates. Like that can't be your primary thing. I'm telling you, I've sold like 22 items just like recently. And in it, I'm telling you, I swear, at least 1 or 2 printers, and still it was like $11. So it's not, and some of these items are somewhat pricey, I guess. And so it's not really, I don't think it's worth your time. If you had like 1 million followers, then sure, go ahead, do it. But I just don't think it's necessarily worth your time. So just consider that. Okay, so then the afternoon, then I play with my son, and then I'll do a bit of straightening up. And then around at least 3 to 4 p.m., I am alone, sitting in my room, watching TV, watching junk TV, or reading if I have a good novel. I love to read, I'm a huge reader. So if I have a good novel, I will read it. Also, I've noticed that a hobby is also finding a good novel. That's kind of a hobby too. It's kind of like buying craft supplies is also a hobby, whereas using the craft supplies is a totally different hobby. And watching TV. So I'm doing, or I'm laying down, I'm listening to my back strengthening affirmations or stuff like that. This is what I do, and I'm relaxing, maybe taking a nap for an hour. And then kids can play Minecraft. That's when they can play Minecraft, because I need that hour to be left alone. Okay, so then after that, 4 p.m., it's dinner time. It's dinner time. I make dinner at 4, clean the kitchen at 4, and by 4:30, I have made food. My husband's finally home. My husband works a long time. He leaves at like 6 a.m., but again, in the next life, he's not gonna do that. But he leaves to work about 6 a.m. and gets home about 4:30, and 5 o'clock, he comes upstairs and he joins me. And I don't eat dinner with the kids, neither does my husband. We eat together, an hour and a half. We spend that time together. And then one of us puts the kids to bed. By 7 o'clock, they are in their room. That has always been my rule. 7 o'clock, kids are in your room. I don't care what you do in your room, but I'm done with you because I'm tired. I'm a morning person. I'm not an evening person, and it wouldn't go well. So, and then we put them to bed. And yeah, by 9 p.m. we are in bed. So there you go. That's my whole day. I know it's real glamorous and exciting. We also don't have a lot of friends over here, so I can work more. In North America, I visit more people, so I visit more people, I join more things, I go more places. So I don't have as much time in which that I can devote to a business per se. I still have some time, but I don't have much time. So it does take decisions and sacrifice. You gotta stay home more, I find, and things like that. All right, I gotta go. Bye-bye.